Broken Neck Radio.
Hello, listeners of Broken Neck Radio. This is DJ Zang here. I have on the line with me, I have Ezra Haynes. He is the vocalist from the band Allegaeon. Pronounced it right, didn't I?
Close. One of the closer ones. You should have went with Allegaeon. It's
Allegaeon.
Yeah, it's a legion.
A legion?
Yeah.
Perfect. Well,
yeah.
I'm not an English major, so I'm sure you probably... Yeah, well, I'm sure you guys have probably had to correct a lot of people.
Yeah, that comes pretty often, but also at the same time, I don't really care, just as long as, you can recognize it and spell it right after a bit.
Yep, and it's the music that counts, right?
Exactly.
Awesome. So I'm gonna get things going here, because I know you're a busy guy with that new album. By the way, that's an amazing album. Unfucking real is all I gotta say.
Hey, thanks a lot, man.
So now I've been asking in interviews for the last 2 years who the grandfather of metal is, and everyone always seems to say Sabbath. Now, if Sabbath had not been around, who do you think that grandfather of metal would have been?
Grandfather of metal? Oh, man. I don't know. Ozzy was a good... Well, you said Sabbath. Maybe Maiden?
Maiden?
Yeah.
Nice. What's your favorite Maiden album?
Honestly, I'm not really a Maiden fan. Not that I mean anything negative by that, but I just, I don't know, their name, that or Priest, too. Priest is cool. But Maiden, for some reason, it seems like a fitting name for that particular question, really.
I agree. Now, musically, though, which band introduced you personally to metal?
What personally got me into metal?
Yes, sir.
Like more towards the metal leaning in, kind of our category, I would say probably like Lamb of God, Chimera, that kind of era.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now, at what age did that happen? Like, did you start noticing, what age did you start really noticing that you were getting into the heavier stuff?
Well, like when I was 10 years old, that's when like Korn was starting to come out and stuff like that. So that was like a segue into listening to the, actual metal, not, as opposed to like a harder rock type stuff. So I woed say probably give it a few years when, like Slipknot kind of stepped it up with that whole Iowa album, and I got introduced to Chimera. And oh God, I was probably, 16, 17? Mm-hmm. Probably somewhere around there. That's when I started getting exposed to the more aggressive stuff.
Now, you were born in the mid-'80s, if I'm not mistaken.
Precisely, exactly, mid-'80s, 85.
So, do you think, here's the question that I just drawn up here is, how do you think your music would have changed if you had, say, because we all know the 80s was basically the birth of thrash. If you had been born a little bit earlier so that your teenage years or the earlier part of your career had been closer to that thrash beginning, do you think your music would have changed at all?
Well, I mean, in a sense, I don't know, Greg, like I'm 29, Greg I think is like 34, and mm-hmm. So he did kind of have that experience or that exposure. So I don't know, I kind of consider us that we do have a thrash sound to it, mm-hmm. Like to me, like there's a song on the album, Threshold of Perception, that's got a thrash vibe to it. So I think it already has really influenced us. I don't think that it would change too dramatically, but it would probably, in the vocal department, it'd be more like thrashy sounding. Mm-mm. Yeah, so that probably seems the most accurate.
Now, your Facebook profile lists your hometown as Reno, Nevada. Did you grow up in Colorado, and what was the metal scene like when you were growing up there?
So I was born in Reno, Nevada. I lived there for 12 years, still just a little tyke. Then mm-hmm. I moved over to Chico, California. That's when I got exposed to pretty much middle school, just for a couple of years. And then I moved to Colorado. And then when I started getting involved in the music scene, I was in a different band, and we were established. We weren't huge or anything, but we were established around Colorado and such. And it felt like there was a huge growth. There was times that we would play some local shows that would just have ridiculous amounts of people. But then, you play around in the same area too much, then people don't really come out to as many shows of yours. You know, nobody wants, even if you are a favorite band, you're not going to see them every week or anything like that. So, I don't know. It was thriving there for a bit, and I think it's still pretty healthy. It's just, I don't know. I don't necessarily go out to too many metal shows anymore, just because, you know, touring, you kind of get burnt out on it.
Yeah.
But, like when buddies like Wretched or Havoc or somebody's in town, then we'll go stop by, you know, definitely make sure to, how you doing? But
I just actually spoke to Dave not too long ago.
Yeah, he played just down the street from where I work. I work at a bar in Fort Collins, and Wretched was staying at my house, and Havoc, of course, is on tour with Wretched, and they played at the Aggie. And then, I stopped in there, and then they all came to my bar, and then just drank.
Oh, that must have been an interesting night.
Oh, it was a blast, because ultimately I went, you know, home at like 3 o'clock in the morning, and Wretched, you know, pretty tuckered out, because we were doing a little raging here and there, a lot of bike riding.
Now, the current band was formed in 2008, where you released your 4-song self-titled EP. Exactly a year after that, the release, you got a deal with Metal Blade Records. What advice would you give other bands that are trying to, you know, ink that deal?
For us, it was sticking out more so, because, you know, 2008, 2009, we were actively looking for labels. So by actively looking, I'm saying, like, utilizing any contacts through, you know, like, just people you know meet via handshake or whatnot, networking and such. But standing out was huge, because we sent a press cut, for us to Metal Blade, and it was an ammo box, a really heavy ammo box, and then we painted it all nice with our logo and stuff, and then we loaded it with, like, you know, the EP, shirts, stickers, the whole 9 yards, sent it to them. And they actually responded to us, you know, via social networking, and then that's kind of when we had to started the talks, really. But just in any way stand out, which is kind of hard for a lot of people, I guess, or because there's so many similar sounding bands out there. But I mean, your appearance matters too. Don't put a piece of, you know, not really good artwork on your album cover if you're trying to sell your album. I mean, appearance is, you know, a part of it, and, you know, you want to stand out more so than the rest, I guess.
Now, in 2012, you entered Lambesis Studios with Daniel Kesselman. Briefly describe what was like working with Daniel.
Daniel's really laid back. He likes coffee and burritos. I don't know about long weeks lost on the beach or anything, but he was cool. He invited us. We stayed at his house because there was a double booking, so we had to go to, like, the backup studio, I guess, because Glass Cloud was in the other studio. And so that was in, like, Lambesis' backyard, parents' house or whatnot. Cool experience, though. Daniel Katzman, really awesome dude, laid back, and I think the guy just has a ridiculous ear for tone, and he has a real solid mix. I enjoy, like, pretty much every second of working with the dude.
Now, yesterday's release, Elements of the Infinite, was recorded at Flatline Audio with Dave Otero. Hopefully I pronounced that right. What was the biggest difference you found working with Dave than when you worked with Daniel? The
biggest differences?
Yeah.
Probably knowing each other on a personal level, because we've worked with Dave for the EP, for Fragments of Form and Function. Then we went to Castleman for Form Shifter, and then we went back to Dave, which we already, you know, had that experience with him, seen him around it. And so it just turned the whole experience, like, we already knew what to expect because we'd recorded it with him before, but it just made it more personal, where we were literally just laughing the whole time. Like, that's pretty much it. It was just a huge sense of humor fest where, you know, you're not going to be that open when you just meet somebody and then all of a sudden recording with them and stuff. So, I mean, that would probably be the biggest difference, was actually knowing the guy and having a huge sense of humor. Not to say that Daniel's not funny, but, I mean, Dave and us go way back.
Did you find that opened up your creativeness, like let the creativity flow even like faster?
I would say we were more open to suggestions, because Dave's got a really good ear for just general songwriting as well. So, you know, we bring, you know, a skeleton, and for the most part, you know, it's what we wrote on the record. But, you know, if he has a suggestion like, hey, how would this sound? You know, we'll open to try it and see how it works out. And if it works out, great. If it doesn't, then, you know, ultimately it would not happen. But for the most part, he nailed it. He knocks it out of the park every time he comes up with an idea, pretty much.
Now, lyrically, you went full throttle with your space and science themes for this record, for this album. What is your main source of lyrical material, and have you ever been caught off guard by someone else's level of interest in the exact same material?
No, because it seems like anybody that really listens, like, they'll ask me about it. I get a lot of questions just like on social networking sites and stuff like that. And it's super fun. It's the weird thing is people taking notice. But as far as my main resource or whatnot, it's kind of just, it's a small mixture of personal, I mean, it's, you know, it's personal opinion ultimately, but dude, like anything that comes out, like, say, for instance, Dyson Sphere, I'll just throw that one out there. I just, surfing through the web, you hear a cool little theory, and you're like, dude, that's awesome. I'm going to look into that a little bit more. I use the general just web, man. Just, you start at Google, and you just figure it out.
Wikipedia.
Yeah, exactly. The most trusted source in the world, Wikipedia, where anybody can change anything. But, yeah, I don't know. I just kind of just do my surfing and, you know, just throw my personal opinion, which tends to be, for the most part, I would say, you know, the opinion of the dudes in the band, and it just seems to be catching on.
Now, my next question is actually one that I've quite enjoyed very thoroughly, and I'm sure you probably have an idea of what I'm talking about. Back in May, you posted your parody video. The Wheel of Subgenres made me laugh out very loud. How did the idea come up to make the video? And out of the subgenres you did in the video, which one did you have the most fun doing? And is making parody videos something that we may see from you guys more often?
Oh, this is going to be good. All right. So that was really fun to film. It started when Ryan Glisson, he used to play guitar for us, and then he ended up moving to Los Angeles, and he couldn't necessarily tour, so he started, you know, a thing with Pyrithian, long story over there. And then we scored Stancil. But before we scored Stancil, when we were with Ryan, we actually filmed the black metal scene of that, and we thought it was a great idea all around. I can't remember who exactly brought it up. Ryan might have actually brought it up, but I can't recall fully. But anyway, so we did that, you know, and then unfortunately we didn't end up filming the whole thing with the guy. So we ended up getting the whole troops together, and we were like, let's do this. This is still a good idea. And so we did it. And what was the funnest one? I mean, I gotta say, it's Crabcore. That was so fun. Like I got to dress all awesome and go into a field where. Can I say words?
You can say whatever you want.
Okay, so as we're filming, like as soon as we get out, you got to imagine like there's 6 dudes with these queer V-necks walking into a field, you know, and it's kind of public. There's people stopping like, what are these dudes doing? And then like I remember seeing the Jurassic Park Jeep drive by. That was cool. He honked. He was nice. So that made it fun. And then somebody yelling the word faggots. That was memorable because we were like, oh, okay, this totally makes sense. You know, 5 dudes in black, a dude that's dressed like a crab. Yeah, I would totally yell at that guy. What are those guys up to? Who invited them?
Brilliant. It was. Oh, I had to watch it at least a couple times. Yeah, Now, on August 5th in Joliet, Illinois, you guys start your Artery Metal Tour with Chimera, The Plot in You, Upon This Dawn, and Silence the Messenger. Is there anything the fans may not know but should look forward to from the band on this tour?
Well, I don't know. We as a whole are more comfortable now. since we've had a couple tours with the lineup in the bag. So we're riding the sense of humor thing.
Mm-hmm.
We're beating this dead horse, and I mean that's just kind of the dudes we are. So I mean there's going to be antics, a lot of stories, and we're really personable dudes. So if you even just come up to us, say what's up, man. Like we're not afraid, and we're not going to disregard people for wanting to talk to us about anything or whatnot. So definitely just say hi. That would be cool.
No crabcore costumes on stage?
Oh, I don't know. I might utilize Miles to the max on this one.
Or is that a surprise?
Well, our CD release, he came out and did the crab thing. It was awesome. It was so awesome. The crowd went nuts. So, I mean, yeah, he's our merch guy, and yeah, he's definitely going to be around. So there's going to be times that I'll probably give him little tests like, hey, you got to do some crabcore tonight. This is a good show. You know what I mean?
You betcha. Now, this next question is my personal question to you guys. This tour is actually going to take you guys to West Hollywood, California, and the infamous Whiskey A Go-Go. With the venue's history, how does that make you guys feel as an artist to play that venue?
I totally get the question. I had that feeling when I played the Roxy last time around. Because the Roxy's a well-respected venue. The Whiskey's a well-respected venue. And the funny thing is the first time we ever played Hollywood was a tiny little club that held like maybe 70, 80, 90 people. And it was right in between the Whiskey and the Roxy. So it's cool to see the evolution of, even in our careers, like it's growing exponentially, it seems like. We played the House of Blues there, but I think we were just not ready for that. But being realistic, seeing, the first club hitting the Roxy, now we're hitting the Whiskey, it's cool. I love that part of town, too, because everybody's so weird.
Now, I had a listener, Casey Lazare. He wanted to ask you what you had for breakfast today.
What did I have? Really? I ate a grilled cheese sandwich.
And what's the coffee?
And a grilled cheese sandwich.
And what is the breakfast of choice on tour?
Oh, man. Anything that is involved with a tortilla, I'm all about. Unfortunately, when you're at the stage that we are currently at, you end up in a lot of Walmart parking lots. So you go inside of Walmart, and you either can purchase Walmart foods, or you can be like, I feel like shit, and I'm going to go to this McDonald's and buy a, sausage McMuffin and a coffee. So I would say it's not really by choice. It's just by, laziness. And choice. It is choice because you're lazy.
Now, my last question is basically a non-musical question. I guess it's safe to say you're a bit of a sci-fi geek, and if so, are you a Star Trek or Star Wars guy?
Not really, neither, man.
Neither?
Yeah. I mean, I grew up, remember, Star Trek, The Next Generation. Saw that a bunch. Don't really follow it. It's just kind of like the same thing. Run into some bad aliens and got to get out of the situation. Maybe beam down to a planet. The Star Wars thing, I don't know. There's part of me that wants to look more into it. I grew up on the older films, but I have not seen any of is it George Lucas films?
Oh, you mean the prequels?
He does all of them. Yeah, the prequels, the 3 ones that came out a while ago, but not before Disney acquired them. But that was fun. Dude, I saw a trailer yesterday that was like old school Star Wars, and somebody got all the footage from it and made their own trailer, but made it to Disney standards. It's hilarious. It's like, the same kind of movie trailer that you would see for I don't know, Aladdin. Yeah, exactly. Like in a world. It's just awesome stuff. And a great goofy soundtrack and just overdubbing Harrison Ford's voice, and it just makes it's so goofy. I hope I explained that enough so you want to check it out. But
I will definitely.
Yeah, dude, it's literally the best thing. I thought that was hilarious. But, honestly, dude, neither. I was when I was a kid, I was all about Mortal Kombat. That's all I cared
Mortal
about.
Kombat, yeah.
Yeah, that was my little sci-fi outworld.
All right, well, this is the point in the interview or the time where I hand it over to you, and you have the opportunity to tell the listeners what they are going to expect when they attend your show on this tour.
Well, you're going to expect a whole bunch of dudes that run around like gay boys. There's really nothing to it. It's just a whole bunch of happy guys yelling a bunch about sassy things. So get ready for it, man. We're going to rock your face off.
Perfect. All right. Well, thanks again. And you can check these guys. They're going to be hitting that road with Chimera, so make sure you head down. Thanks again, Ezra.
Yes, sir. You have been a pleasure to speak to.